everybody? Ron, aka Daddy Geek, back with another Disney Infinity 3.0 Toy Box tutorial. And in this tutorial, we are going to cover two separate things. In my last video, I was asked if I could do a tutorial on stealth gameplay, on stealth mechanics, and also if I could do a tutorial on the mission creator template. So I'm going to combine both of those into this one tutorial, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a stealth mission using the stealth mechanics, and that way you get to see a demonstration of different types of stealth mechanics and also how to set up a quest. Now, before we get started though, as you can see behind me, I have two demonstrations of a quest. On the left-hand side of your screen there, you see the way we used to do things in 2.0. And on the right-hand side, you're seeing the new, improved version that we have in 3.0. Now, the reason why I'm doing this real quick is because if you're a returning player from 2.0, it might be good to see the differences on how you can set up a quest compared to 2.0. And also, if you're a brand new player just to Disney Infinity in general or to building in a toy box, it's nice to know how the game has progressed and how the logic and how things work so you can get a better understanding of how to build in the toy box and how to create a mission. So let's get started. Over here, we have a perfect example of setting up a quest in 2.0. You would plop down an NPC, which we have the Mad Hatter sitting over there, and then you would use a replayer, which are these little guys here, to create a sticker, that little exclamation point above the Mad Hatter's head. So now what would happen is we have this trigger area in front of the Mad Hatter. The player would walk into it. Logic, in this case, text would fire off. And once we accepted the quest, the exclamation point would disappear and the new replayer would fire off, and then we would instead would get a question mark. Now, there were a lot of problems with this. For starters, let's go ahead and just activate the quest and you'll see what happens. I has a quest. And he gets all excited. And go fetch. Now, and there he goes wandering off. Now, here's, okay, I'm kind of glad this happened. Here's two problems. One, the replayer did not fire off. This replayer cleared and got rid of the exclamation point, but this one did not fire off. Now, in testing, this worked fine, but here's the problem. Sometimes when you have items that are on a replayer sharing similar space or even the same space, when one clears and the other one is supposed to fire, sometimes they do not fire. And also on top of that, replayers do not like the stickers. I call them stickers. They're actually under decorations, those exclamation points and question marks and arrows and stuff. Those are under, decorations. I call them stickers because they remind me of stickers from Little Big Planet. So anyway, with that said, you'll see another problem when I go ahead and replay this exclamation point. If the player is walking up here, as you can see, NPCs tend to behave very badly. They're like hyperactive children hopped up on 5 pounds of sugar. Instead of standing put or doing what you tell them to do, they have a mind of their own and they'll just go wander off and go wee-hee, and they just, do whatever they want to do and cause all kinds of chaos. So we had to come up with a lot of creative ways to keep them to stand still. But let's say you put the Mad Hatter down, you had everything perfect, you were ready to go, and you saved your toy box and you uploaded it and you're ready to share it with the world, and you come to find out that when the player comes over here, all they see is a floating exclamation point and no Mad Hatter. Well, that obviously doesn't look right. Instead, it looks like you are talking to dead space. It's like, hey, look, I'm Mr. Exclamation Point and I have a quest for you. That's not what we want. We actually want the player to actually talk to an NPC. So let's get rid of all this nonsense and let's show you the difference in 3.0. Away with you. And where's the Mad Hatter? Let's see if I can target him and not delete half of my toy box in the process. 9 times out of 10, I delete the floor under the NPC instead of the actual NPC, because they don't like to cooperate. Aha, bye-bye. Okay, so over here we have a demonstration of how we do quests in 3.0, and Snow White is going to demonstrate for us. First things first, let's actually target Snow White, and let's tell her to take a hike, or wander around. Let's see, behavior, we'll change it from stand still, wrong direction, to wander, and away she will go. And that's the typical default behavior for NPCs, which is wander aimlessly around your toy box. Hopefully she does not wander aimlessly and fall off the edge. That would not be good. It'd be kind of funny, but it wouldn't be good. Now, a couple things you notice right off the bat. First off, you notice that the exclamation point, this little beacon above her head, is actually following her. And that is a very good thing. So instead of having to have a trigger area of some sort and a static location for your quest, you can actually attach the entire quest, the beacon, everything, to that NPC, so no matter where they wander off, even if you tell them to stand still and they wander off, you can still track them down. So besides the floating exclamation point, you'll also see we have this nice big blue beacon that says, hey, I'm a quest over here, yoo-hoo! And you can easily find the quest and you can direct the player to where you want them to go. And finally, the really nice thing is also you see we have this handy dandy little radar on the bottom left of our screen. And what's nice about that is you can see there's a little blue exclamation point and it's following wherever Snow White goes, it's following her. So now we can actually track it as the player. We can track where the quest actually is firing off at. Now, we'll bring out the wand and you notice nothing. There's not a hitbox around here. There's nothing visible anyway. There's nothing that we have to worry about moving along with her. What's going on is we are using a new toy called the dynamic trigger. And basically what it is it's just a movable, invisible trigger area. Just like that one we had in front of the Mad Hatter, but this one you can actually attach to actors, in this case townspeople, enemies, locators, you name it, you can pretty much attach it to it. And that allows you to customize the only where you can place a trigger area, but you can make it mobile and you can adjust the size of it. So, for example, we will walk over here to Snow White and we will get the quest. And you saw we got a little button prompt said talk, and she goes, I has a quest, and then she runs off. And go fetch. Excuse me. And as you can see, now she has a question mark above her head. Pardon me. And she's wandering off. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Give me a minute. Nothing coffee won't fix. There we go. She's wandering off, and now you can see that there's a question mark above her head, and you see the question mark on the radar screen. So much better setup than before. So what we're going to do is we are going to delete Snow White, go away, and I can't believe I didn't delete the terrain underneath of her. And we're going to get rid of all this because we're going to use all these same toys in a few minutes here to create our quest. So we have a dynamic trigger, we have 2 radar markers, and we have a text creator, which gave us the text for go fetch, and we have our button context press, or something like that. So let's go ahead and get rid of all these, because we are going to build a quest from scratch with all these different toys, and we're going to go step by step on how to do it. Now, before we get started here, there's one other thing I need to address. Let's go into our ribbon and let's go to our templates and bring out the mission creator template. If I can find it. Oops, too far. And it looks like this. And we'll spin it around and we'll plop it down. Now, as you can see, they already give us an NPC that's doing a little dance. And, you know, again, we have the beacon above his head. In this case, it is blue. So, now, first things first, with any template, these little guys over here, these little question marks, these are info boxes. You step on them, and you will get info about the template itself, what you can do with it, you know, the different types of connections that are already made, and the type of connections that you can make with it. Now, as a general rule, I like templates in Disney Infinity, whether it be 2.0, 3.0, whatever. I like templates because they can give you a really good starting point, and plus they also help you to understand the logic. You can dissect them, see how the logic was done, and get a better idea for your own use. However, that being said, this one, not so much. This one's not so good. Because all it really does is it plops this NPC down who is just absolutely spazzing out. It just plops this townsperson down, puts a beacon overhead, and that's pretty much it. If you're new to Disney Infinity, you're new to building in a toy box, this really isn't going to show you what else to do with this. You're going to be kind of like, how do I customize this? What do I do with it? Where do I go from here? So let's go ahead and delete these things first. And then I'm going to show you what I mean. So you walk up to here, up to blue, and it says talk. Will you help me? And that's it. So now, okay, what do I do now? And now you'll see the one nice little feature they do have is if you walk away, the quest resets. Now, you can look at the logic here and see how they made the beacon pop over his head and the context button fire off, but it really doesn't help you much. So we are going to delete this, and we're going to build our quest from scratch. We don't need that template. It is extremely easy to build your own quest with just a few toys, just like we had out earlier. So you really don't need the template. If you're new to Disney Infinity and say you were trying to create like a collection, a collectibles tracker quest, where you got to go around and collect like 20 collectibles and you got to have all the logic fire off and the you know, challenge marker work and everything else like that, then you might want to try to use a template if it's your first time. because those things are already, all the logic is done for you. You can customize it. But in this case, there's not much to customize with a quest. And plus, it's just so easy to do on your own, you really don't need it. So let's go ahead and set our stage for our quest. So what we got here is we have 2 Naboo force fields. I knew I'd spit that out. And they're going to act as our prison. And we're going to put a little console over here to actually turn off the force fields and rescue our townsperson that's going to be in prison. So what we have is we have 2 Naboo prisons. We're going to go ahead and turn them on here in a second. And the idea is there's going to be an NPC, in this case Princess Leia, behind, in jail, behind the force field in prison here. And she's going to tell us she's going to give us a quest to go get the codes to input into the ability terminal and turn off the force field and rescue her. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to come down this hallway, follow an NPC, and follow that NPC without being caught, without being seen, all the way down to this computer terminal down here. Once we make it down here and we follow him correctly, we don't set off any alarms, we don't alert him to our presence, we are going to observe him inputting in the code, and then that in turn will turn on the ability terminal down here. We'll be able to input our code and we'll be able to rescue Princess Leia. So that's the basics, but for now we need to set up our stage. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this button, and we're just going to tell it when we press it, we're going to turn on these force fields. So we're going to go close because we want them to be, closed, not open yet. The whole mission is to actually open them. And we'll do the other one. Do connect. Thank you. Close. And we also actually need to deactivate our terminal. We don't want it working until we actually get the code. So just once again, new logic connection pressed to our ability terminal, and we will just say deactivate. So now we come over here, we press our little button, and we get our cool looking force fields, and we get as you can see, the ability terminal is now dead. It's turned off. Now we also need to adjust the properties in here. We're going to go into properties, and you can see character type, and right now it says tech. The ability terminal allows us to pick whatever type of special ability that our characters that we can play with in Disney Infinity have. So you have tech, you have flight, web swing, etc., etc. In this case, I don't know what the player is going to be using, and I don't want to restrict the player to using only one certain type of character, so I'm just going to say any. And it looked like it turned the daggone thing back on, so let's turn it off. Yep, okay, it turned it on. Okay, by doing that, we messed it up and turned it on. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn it back off. Alright, so now we have our stage set, and the button you can either hide if you were actually doing this in a toy box, or you could set the stage with other logic, like, with a level starter or something else. But this is just for sake of convenience and for the tutorial. Alright, so now let's go ahead and set up our quest. Let's bring out Princess Leia. She is under... I'm going too far. Aha! I just saw it. Where'd it go? Character townspeople. There we go. And there she is, Princess Leia with her honey buns on her head. Okay. We're going to go ahead and plop her down. And first things... lady, stop moving. First things first, we're going to tell her to stand still. All the way down, stand still. Hey, stop moving, stop moving. There you go. Alright, now we can get out of spark mode here. And we're telling her to stand still only because it makes it easier to make our logic connections. Once we're done, we can let her wander. Once we put her behind a force field, we can let her wander around if we want. Or we can leave her standing still. It really doesn't matter. Alright, so now we actually need the creativ-a-toys to create our quest. So let's go into our ribbon, go under creativ-a-toys if we can find them. There are so many toys now. It's mind-blowing. Alright, here we go. So here's what we're going to need. We are going to need 2 radar markers. Actually, we're going to need more than this, but step by step here, people, step by step. So we're going to need 2 radar markers, and we're going to need a dynamic trigger. And we're going to add some little text here for the quest. And I'm going the wrong way. Let's go back. We are going to need our text creator. Now, we're going to get a little fancy, and we're also going to use a camera and a target camera and a locator. So we can kind of give the player a hint on where to go in order to get said codes. So we'll just plop it down here for right now, and we'll place down a locator. And the rest of the stuff we can do with a magic wand. So we'll go ahead and we'll back out. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to actually attach these radar, the beacons that go above Princess Leia's head. We need to attach the toy to her. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this, and we're going to say new actor connection. Now an actor can be an NPC or it can be an enemy. We're going to say actor. So now we told this toy, all we're doing is we're telling this toy, hey, this is the actor that's connected to this toy. This is the quest giver. And we'll go under properties, and you'll see we have beacon type. So you can have a blue exclamation point, a blue question mark, a blue ring, a blue arrow, and then yellow versions of the same thing. Now generally I tend to use blue for my actual quest and yellow for the objectives. So like, you know, I'll have blue exclamation points above the NPC's head, but like the places that you actually need to go, that you're trying to lure the player to, would be like under in yellow. So it's kind of easy for the player to distinguish what's what, because you can have multiple hits on your radar in your toy box. So you helps if you have things kind of separated a little bit. So we're going to stick with the blue exclamation point. We're going to go down to beacon location. Now this toy, that does not mean the toy we connected. That means that the beacon would appear directly over the creativ-a toy there. We don't want that. We actually want it to be attached to Princess Leia. So we're going to select this and we're going to say connected actor. Now this can be, as you can see, this can be triggering player, all players, players 1 through 4, connected actor, this toy, all enemies, a locator. You have a lot of options. That's why I said these radar markers and these dynamic triggers are awesome. So we'll do connected actor. Now we're going to go down here, and because it's the exclamation point, because it's the actual beginning of the quest, we want this active. We want to be able to find it right away as soon as we load up the toy box. So we'll turn it on, and as you can see in the background, it already put it above Princess Leia's head, and that is it. We'll back out. And now as you can see, we got a nice little floating exclamation point above her head. And it's on our mini map and everything. It's perfect. Now we'll go over to the next one, and this is the one that's going to control putting a question mark above her head. So same thing, new actor connection, over to Princess Leia. I'm going to say actor, and we're going to go into the properties once again. And this time we're just going to change the beacon type from a exclamation point to a question mark. And we're going to target the connected actor, Princess Leia. And we are going to actually leave the active off because we don't want this to turn on until we go ahead and accept the quest. And now we actually need to go and connect the actual dynamic trigger to Princess Leia. Again, this is just like basically a small, customizable, movable, I call it a hitbox, but you know, a trigger area. So we'll highlight this, we'll say new actor connection, because once again we're connecting it to the actual NPC, in this case Princess Leia. Say connect, and we'll say actor. Now, very similar to the radar markers, we need to go into properties and make some adjustments. So we'll go over here, and we'll go under properties. Now, again, it says target this toy. Again, this toy does not mean what you connected to it. That means that actual little creativ-a toy. So we're going to need to change that. And as you see, we have this toy, players 1 through 4, and a locator and connected actor. So we'll say connected actor. So now that will actually make Princess Leia the dynamic trigger, the target. And now this trigger distance, this is in units. If you've seen my Path Creator tutorial, part 1, and yes, I know part 2 is still not up yet. It will be up hopefully soon. You'll know that 4 units equals 1 regular square building block. So your base small little square building block is 4 units. So this is by default set to 10, and that might be a little too big. I don't want to set up the quest, halfway across the toy box. So we will go and change that to. We'll change it to 8 in case she decides to move around in that back in the prison block there, so we don't have to get up against the actual force field to get the quest. So we'll go with 8. So now we actually have the trigger attached to her. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to actually give us our text for the quest. So we'll go over to, we'll highlight our text creator, and we'll go under properties. And now we're going to decide what kind of text we want to use. Now, a lot of times, if it's important, in this case, like giving out an actual quest, or if it's something else that's very important, you might want to change this text style to confirmation. And what that does is it makes the text won't disappear and the next line won't play until the player actually clicks a button. So it kind of makes them pay a little bit more attention to the text. And if they click through it, you know what? It's their fault. At least it's not your fault. You know, because if you use a different style of text where it just displays for so many seconds and disappears, they might not have enough time to read it. We're going to actually tell it to, in this case, auto-display the next line of text, which means after text 1 appears, automatically text 2, you know, when you clear it out, text 2 is automatically going to appear, and so on and so forth. And this is a nice new feature of 3.0. Before, if you wanted to have multiple lines of text, you know, have a conversation, you had to have multiple text creators. They had to bounce back and forth. You had to not confuse which one was supposed to fire off when, and it could have been a mess. Much easier now. You can do a lot more in one text creator. So we're going to go down here and we're going to give a quest. Let's see. We'll say help. Something real simple and easy. I should have had this already prepped. Let's see. Help. We'll do a little bit more than help. Help. We'll put down, I've been kidnapped. I've been kidnapped. I don't know why beef came up there. I don't remember ever typing beef in recently. Everything but kidnapped. Really? Come on, you're making me spell all this out. It should be ED? No. Is it one E or I've been kidnapped. Kidnapper? Oh. Kidnate? I think it's probably 2 P's. You're seeing my spelling skills. You know what? It's close enough. Watch, it's probably going to kick back and say, you can't say that. Oh, it did. Sometimes you got to be careful. Disney does not like certain words and can't be too violent, and etc., etc., etc. Alright, so, help, I've been kidnapped. And again, we're not going to spend all day doing this. Let's see, you'll... blah, blah, blah. I should have typed in blah, blah, blah. You need... people won't read this stuff anyway. You need to get the codes. Aha! Codes 4. And again, we don't need to be overly, you know, exciting here. I need to get the codes for the cells. Done. Please don't kick it back. I know it. You need to get the code for the cells. Why would cells be blanked out? Really? Cells. The word cells. Oh my goodness. Seriously. See? This is the problem. Alright, blah blah blah. The codes. You'll need to get the code. You'll need to get the codes for... oh, I don't know. How about the doors? I mean, that's not what I want, but let's go ahead and do doors. Heaven forbid. There we go. You'll need to get the code. Now, don't you dare kick it back out again. Thank you. Alright, so let's see. Help, I've been kidnapped. You'll need to get the codes for the doors. And we'll put in one more line of text. Be careful. Oh my goodness. I should have had this all prepped. Hello? Hooked on phonics worked for me. Be careful you don't get... oh goodness gracious. Derp 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 derp. I said I just should have typed in derp 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 derp. And I would have understood it. Be careful you don't get caught. Alright. So now we're done. And that's enough text for now. If we need to add something else later, we can. Alright, so we now need to tell the game that when we get close to Princess Leia, we need the quest to fire off. We need the text to fire off. So what we're going to do here is we're going to highlight our dynamic trigger. We're going to say new logic connection. And we're going to say entered because we want the player to enter. Enter player. In this case, we'll just do any. And we'll tell it to fire off text line 1, display text 1. Now, if we go over here and we highlight our dynamic trigger again and we look at our actual connection to the text creator, and you go ahead and you click this, it'll say entered any. Now, what I'm trying to show you here is if you read back the logic connection that you made, normally 9 times out of 10 it will make sense. So in this case, it says entered any, display text 1. And you know that any player enters that area, it's going to display text 1. So if you're ever not sure if your logic connection is correct, or if you go to fire it off and it's not working, go back in there and before you make any changes, read it and see if it makes sense. Because if it doesn't make sense to you, it's probably not going to make sense to the game. Alright, so let's go ahead and back out of there again. So now we have it set to display text 1, and we'll go ahead and we'll test it. So we get over here, help, I've been kidnapped. See, works. Beautiful. You'll need to get the codes from the door, and it's automatically playing the line after line. Be careful you don't get caught. Whee! Okay. We obviously want more than that to happen. So we actually need one other toy that I forgot to bring out. Oh my goodness, I'm failing miserably at this tutorial. We need our context button presser. I like to use it anyway. It adds a nice little extra feature to the game. And it's, shockingly enough, looks like someone pressing a button. Who knew? Alright. We need that too. Alright, so we have... Ooh. I need to make a change. Let's do something here. Now you get to see how to change stuff. We actually don't want the text to fire off when we got near. We actually want the button prompt to fire off. So let's go ahead and delete this link. No worries, we'll fix it. Now, instead, we're going to, when we approach Princess Leia, we're going to get the option to talk to her. So we're going to sit there and say new logic connection. Entered player any. And we're going to fire off the button context. And we'll say activate. And the player, in this case, is going to be the triggering player. So only the player that actually goes up to Princess Leia and offers the help will get this prompt. So now we need to go into its properties as well and make a few changes. We're going to go down here, we're going to go to button prompt text, and we're just going to sit there and say talk. Simple enough, right? Now, if this kicks this back, I'm done. Okay, there we go, talk. And we'll say button prompt location, which is player. That just means that's where the button prompt is going to appear. You can do it player, or in this case, we could also do it to a connected actor if we want. We don't want to do that, we want to just do player. So, and we have deactivate prompt when pressed. So we want to, when we press it, it goes away. Otherwise, it will sit there and hover over the player forever until you use another logic connection to clear it out. So we actually want it to go away once we press the button. So now if we walk over to Princess Leia, you'll see that we get this little button that says talk. And we talk and nothing happens because she's mad at us and she doesn't want to say anything. Alright, so now we need to take it to the next step and actually add the text. So we're going to go over here, we're going to highlight this little guy, and we're going to say new logic connection, pressed, player, triggering player, and we're going to now tell it to fire off text line 1, display text 1. Ta-da! Now if we go over here, we'll get the prompt to talk, we'll hit the talk button, help, I've been kidnapped. You'll need to get the codes for the doors. Be careful you don't get caught. And that is it. And now we can use the logic connections, the text lines to fire off the rest of the logic. So here's what we're going to do. Oh, not quite done yet. Before we move her, let's do something else here. Let's see. After text line 3 is fired off, the final line of the quest speech, we're going to actually change that exclamation point into a question mark. So we're going to do new logic connection from our text creator, specific line dismissed, text line 3. We're going to tell it to deactivate this. This is our exclamation point, deactivate. And we're going to tell it to activate specific line dismissed, once again text line 3, and we're going to tell it to activate the question mark. All we're doing, and we got to be careful not to actually fire this off until we're ready, because otherwise I need to reset, put a button down to reset it. All we're doing is we're just simply telling it that once that final line of text has been cleared out by the player, has been read by the player, it's going to change her exclamation point into a question mark. So now let's go ahead and we are going to move her back. To save time, I'm not going to bother with the whole... so you gotta be careful. You put her too close, as you see, it gets red. That's because she doesn't like to be that close to the force field, because it hurts. It's painful. Oi, the pain. We'll go ahead and we'll put her down. Now, as long as we don't talk, we should be fine. So let's go ahead and see if that's close enough to actually get the button prompt. It is. Barely, but it is. Ooh, that is very close. We might want to increase that a little bit. No, it's still doing it here. Let's see how far can we get away. Oh, you know why? I just showed you something else. You notice that this is just going to sit here over his head and say talk, 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 talk all day long. We forgot to clear that out. Oops. Let's clear that out. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to do a new logic connection from our trigger area. That's what brings up that button prompt in the first place. New logic connection. Failure. Exited. Player. Any. Now you can set this to 1 player, 2 player, whatever you want. And now we're going to sit there and tell button prompt, go away. We'll tell it to deactivate. And now if we come up here, it'll fire off again. And we go away, it should go away. And it's not going to do it. You dirty bird. What did I do? Did I do something wrong? Context setting under exited. Any player deactivate. Why did you not deactivate? You should have went away. Go away. Uh-oh. I made a boo-boo. So now I'm probably gonna actually have to talk to her to get rid of that. Oh no, there it goes. It just took it a while for the logic to catch up and reset. Hey, okay. So now if we get close enough to her, we'll see if we get the little talk prompt, and if we walk away, it goes away, and everything is back to normal. Huzzah! And we're good. Sorry about that. All right, so now we have Princess Leia set up, and we have the ability to start the quest. What we're going to do is we're going to actually use a camera to show the player where to go. So we'll come over here, and we actually want it on the ground level because that actually might look kind of cool. So we'll put it right here. We'll grab our locator, and we'll put it about a little bit down the hallway, right about here. Looks good. And now we'll make a logic connection from our camera to our target, to our locator, I should say. This is a target camera. We're going to sit there and say new locator connection. We're going to go target our locator. Hello. And we're going to say camera target. So what we're doing, camera target, as the name implies, is actually a camera that actually has a set target that it's trying to focus in on. In this case, we connected a locator, so it's going to focus in on that locator. So let's go ahead and let's go into the properties of the camera. And we'll say start transition, we will do swing, because I think it looks more dramatic and I like it better. Camera type, in this case, you can leave it to follow, but we'll do stationary because this is a stationary camera. And in transition, we're going to do swing. And then we are going to go down here, and now we need to tell the camera target to use the connected locator. So now it actually is going to, focus in on the locator that we connected it to. And everything else we can leave alone for now, because this should actually be quite good what we need. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our text creator. And if you remember, if we go into properties here, you can sit there on line 2, it says you'll need to get the codes for the actual doors. So what we'll do is we'll have new logic connection, specific line dismissed, text line 2, and we're going to go turn on the camera. And we'll say activate. Now we'll have another logic connection from the text creator, new logic connection, specific line dismissed, text line 3, and we will tell it to turn off the camera and go back to the default view for the player. And we'll say deactivate. And now we should be good to go. Now, from this point on, we could then trigger off a challenge maker, which would actually give us a challenge. So we'll get the nice, cool little countdown. We'll get the, you can make it a time challenge you want. You can get the little, huzzah, little confetti after the quest is done if you wish. But for now, we're just going to leave it as a regular quest. We don't need to have everything tied to a challenge maker. We can do that for a later tutorial. All right, so now we have our text from Princess Leia. We'll switch to the camera over here. We'll get to see where we're supposed to go. And then we can actually move on with the quest. So before we do that, now we actually need to set up the actual stealth part, the gameplay. How we're going to make it so the player can actually sneak in, go ahead, grab their code, and get back to her. So what we'll do is we need a path creator, and we need some type of NPC to follow. So in this case, we're going to use a path creator. We're going to have the NPC start about, here. We don't want them to too close, so we can have the player have an opportunity not to get caught the minute that they round the corner. We'll start here, and we will drag our path all the way down. We don't need to worry about any other path points. This is just a nice straight line. And we'll take it down to, actually we are going to curve it a little bit. We'll start here, and we're going to curve it ever so slightly over to, we'll do here. You know what, let's test this and see if he'll actually go up. I just lost my, there's no way he's going to go down into the floor, man. You know what, no. We'll just leave it right there. That's something we can do for another tutorial and try to experiment with. For right now, we'll just leave it as a typical, nice little meandering path. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to actually use an NPC and not an enemy. That way we don't have to worry about the enemy wanting to shoot our face off. At least not for this part of the tutorial. So we'll go ahead and we'll find someone that looks like they would actually be getting the codes. You know what? He looks pretty good. Doctor here. Look for someone who looks like they belong here. Like they would actually be trying to, get the codes. He looks like he belongs here. He could be like the captain or something, or, the jail guard or something. We'll use him. So we'll go ahead and we'll plop him down. And now we'll target him. And we'll say new path connection. And we'll attach him to a path. $3 path. And now he will run over to the path and he will jog back and forth until we tell him to do otherwise. Now, here's the thing. One, it's a little too fast. That's not going to work for stealth. So let's take him from a run into a walk. We'll go under the path properties and we'll say speed will knock down to 50. So that should give us a nice little walk. So now we should have him. That's much better. Now he's walking. A little slow, but he's walking. He's got a bum leg. He used to be an adventurer until he got shot in the knee. Yeah, that's actually not a bad pace. We'll stick with that. So now he's going to go there, and he's actually going to loop because we did not tell him to go back and forth yet. So you'll see he'll get to the actual computer console, and he'll disappear and come back. Let's change that. Let's highlight him, and let's go under his properties, and you'll see we have toy box path properties, and we're going to tell him the movement style back and forth. And now he will wander back and forth. And if we put away our wand, we'll see that he just wanders back and forth. No worries, right? So he'll wander up here. He'll go to the computer console. Now we could have him walk on there, but I don't want to watch him disappear into nothing and fall through the terrain. So he's just going to walk back and forth. And as you can see, he does not care one bit if we are walking next to him or not. We're going to change that. We're going to make it so we have to be careful, not get too close to him, and alert him to our presence. So here's how we're going to do that. We are going to use a couple creativ-a-toys. For starters, we're going to use a dynamic trigger, just like we used for Princess Leia. And once again, I went the wrong way. Alright, so we're going to use a dynamic trigger. And we're also going to use... do we want to use a radar marker for him? Not yet, because I want to show you what we can do with that. Let's go ahead and just use a dynamic trigger for now. We're going to use a dynamic trigger. We're also going to need a distance checker. Well, we don't need it, but it's one way we're going to use it. And then we're also going to use a beacon over here. And I'll show you later. What we'll do is we'll go step by step. First, we'll show you how we can just do it without the distance checker or the the radar beacon. But we'll eventually add those two things into the equation, and you can see how much nicer the your stealth can look. It's all about style. It's got to look good. Even if it's one thing if it plays good, but you also got to look good doing it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the dynamic trigger to the player. So, or not the player. I'm sorry, to the NPC walking back and forth. So we're going to say new actor connection. We're going to target this guy here, and we're going to say new actor, just like we did with Princess Leia. No difference. We're going to go under here. We're going to do our properties first so we don't forget. We're going to go into properties. We're going to say target. Once again, not this toy. We actually want connected actor. And we're going to change this because we're going to do 4. We're going to do the standard unit. And you're going to see why in a minute. Now, we're also going to bring out a text creator toy so I can give you a visual demonstration on how this works. Alright, let's see here. What else do we need? That should do for now. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a connection from this dynamic trigger, new logic connection, enter, player, any, and we're going to go over here and we're going to say display text 1. And for text 1 we're going to put down, let's see, it's going to properties. We're actually going to use a banner to make this a little bit more dramatic. We'll do banner. And we're going to, let's see, we're going to say, we're going to say, you know what? We might do a little bit different here. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to say, let's do this. We're going to do too close. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this here. And this next one we'll do the exact opposite. We're going to do too far. And for our final line of text, we're going to say caught. And now in this case, we don't want the text to fire off one after the other, each line of text to fire off. We want these to only fire off when we trigger them to fire off. So we have too close, too far, and caught. And now what we need to do is we need to get out of Spark mode. We need to make a change. We are going to delete the text creator because I'm going to show you why. So I want to give you a very good visual demonstration on how this all works. So we have a dynamic trigger attached to the citizen walking back and forth there, our jail guard. So that's good. That's exactly what we want. Now we need to set it up so if we get too close, we get a warning that it's too close. We need to have it set up so if we get too far away, we lose sight of him. It says too far. And then we need one that when we get right next to him, he is alerted to our presence and we get caught and we get thrown in jail, just like Princess Leia. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to actually use a distance checker. So we're going to do new actor connection. And we're going to highlight our citizen again. Come here, citizen. And we're going to tell it target A. Now, here's how a distance checker works. What it does is it measures the distance between two different toys. And the toys can be, in this case, target A, which is the connected actor. Now, target B could be another object, another actor, or the player themselves. In this case, we want the player. Because what we're doing is we're telling the game to monitor the distance between our target that we're trying to track, we're trying to sneak behind, we're trying to stay out of sight of, and the player. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into properties here. We're going to go and do, once again, target A says this toy. We don't want target A this toy. We want a connected actor. And as you can see, there's a lot of things. Locators, team, connections, everything. Connected actor. And now target B is actually going to be the player. And we'll say, let's be a little bit more specific. Let's say player 1. Now, we have 3 distances here. Now, here's where things get interesting. You have 3 different options for distances, so 3 separate logic connections can be fired off depending on the distance between target A and target B, in this case, the citizen, the connected actor, and the player. So the first distance we're going to do is we're going to do the one that's too close. So if we get within 10 units of the, 10 units of the, we'll make it 8 units. 8 units of the citizen, it's going to give us a warning. It's going to give the player a warning. Hey, you're getting too close. Back off. So what we'll do is we'll do 8. We'll switch this to 8 because 10's a little much. Well, we can always adjust it as we go. And the second distance is going to be if we're too far. So what we'll do for that is we'll do something like, I don't know, we'll say 16. And let's see, distance 3 is going to be if we get caught. If we were within this distance, we're going to actually get caught and thrown in jail, and we failed, and Boba Fett doesn't get paid, and everybody cries, and Princess Leia takes off her buns and stomps on him. It's not good. All right, so we'll do 4 for this one. And now active, we want it on. And visible display distance, we have it off right now. Now, this is a personal preference. If you want to help the player know how close they are or how far they're going, you're going to want to turn this on. If you want them to be guessing and you want them to just do some trial and error, say if you're playing a Splinter Cell type game and you remember how that game was just full of nothing but trial and error. You would get close and you'd have to get back again. You'd get close, you'd have to try and see how close you can get to the enemies without setting them off. All that nonsense. Or you can turn on the actual visible display, which that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to turn on. As you can see, we now have a little display marker above on the top of the screen. I almost said above our head. On top of the screen, and it's demonstrating, it's giving you the distance in units from the player and the connected actor. So we're going to leave that all on. Pretty cool. Hey, now, since we don't have any other logic connections, we can go test this out. As you can see, we can get all the way up, and here's 4 units, which is basically we are saying, hey, buddy, how you doing? Tapping him on the shoulder. So that is how we set up the distance tracker. So now you can see, again, if we get too close, there's our 4 units. And here's, we're getting out here. Now we'll say we're too far away and we're losing sight of them. So this is kind of cool. So we need to actually now make all this work so it does something other than just give us pretty little numbers at the top of the screen. So what we're going to do is we are going to, instead of going from the dynamic trigger, like how we did with Princess Leia, like if we got within her range, within the range of the dynamic trigger, it fired off the text and it fired off the other logic. This time we wanted to actually fire off based on the distance tracker. So we're going to leave the dynamic trigger alone. We don't actually need to do anything with it anymore at this point. So what we're going to do is we are going to come over here and we are going to say new logic connection. Target comes within distance 1, distance 2, and then target moves out of. So you have, basically this is the same thing as a dynamic trigger. Target comes within, enters distance 1, or target comes in within distance 2, or target comes in with distance 3, and then exact opposite. Just like how with the dynamic trigger you have exited, this is the same thing. Target moves out of that particular distance. So distance 1 was if we got too close, which was 8. So target comes within 8 units of the connected actor. We're going to fire off the logic that says too close. So we'll say target comes within distance 1. We will target our text creator and we will say display text 1. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other 2. We're going to go new logic connection. We're going to say target, let's see, first one was too close and second one is too far. So now we're going to say target moves out of distance 2. And we're going to target our text creator. And we're going to say display text 2. Now we'll say you're too far away. And now we'll do one more. We're going to say new logic connection. Target comes within distance 3. We're going to highlight our little text creator and we're going to say display text 3 caught. So now we can go ahead and test this because we have yet to fire off any other logic. So we'll get closer and closer and you'll see we'll actually get the text pop up depending on our distance between us and the connected actor. Hey buddy. Psst. Hey buddy. So now we're too close. And and now it says caught. I really need to actually get the, well, if you're doing stealth gameplay, it won't really matter. Now I'll wait till it's like 16 and you'll see we'll get too far away. Too far. Now, honestly, I have the text displaying probably a little bit too long, which is why it's taking too long for it to get there. So we'll get within 8 units of him again. And we'll see that well, we get to too close. But now if we get within, 4 units of him, we'll get the caught thing. Now, as you can see, we're getting a little bit of a delay there, which is kind of annoying. But that's because we have the too far and too close so close together, so to speak. And we should probably lower how long the text displays. So let's go over here and we'll fix that. See, this is, a lot of times things like this are a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of customization. Once you get the base logic connections down, you can go in and tweak everything. So we'll go into, oops, not the text creator. Yes, the text creator. What are you doing? The derp. We'll go into properties and we'll knock this down to 2. That actually should make all the difference. And we'll go test it out one more time. Hey, buddy, come here. Let's turn off our wand so it looks a little bit better. Now we're too close. Oh, too close again. We should honestly probably get rid of that and just do caught or too close. See if we're within that, we're caught. Now if we let this go further away, once we hit 16, it'll say too far. Too far. Too close. Just right. Oh wait. Caught. There you go. It's working a little bit better now. Now you can adjust that. You can even get rid of the too close. You can sit there and just say caught. You can adjust it as need be, but we're going to have fun with it on this one. You know what? Actually, now we'll leave it. We'll see, because if it fails, we get to see how it fails. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, and wow, this tutorial is already running long, and we haven't even gotten started. Woo! Goodness gracious. All right, so now we're going to do one step further. We're going to give the player a visual demonstration, a visual cue if they're too close or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little beacon here. We're going to say new actor connection. We're going to highlight our little walkabout guy here. Come here. And we're going to say actor. And just like we did with Princess Leia, all we're doing is we're connecting the beacon to the actual player, or not the player, the actual NPC. We're going to go under here. We're going to say properties, beacon type. What we're going to do is we're actually going to do a yellow ring. And we're going to do beacon location. We're going to do connected actor. And we're going to turn this on. Now, check out what happens. Let's get rid of the wand. Now you'll see, if you're familiar with like the Sly Cooper games, or games like, a little bit more lighthearted stealth games, you'll know that they usually have like this little cone of light that usually is in front of them or around them that gives the player a visual clue on how close or how far away they can get to the NPC. So in this case, we have this little cone of light. And this cone of light, as you can see, I really need to get rid of that too close. It is almost exactly about 4 units in circumference. So you'll know that if they're in with that, they're going to get caught. So let's get it out of 4 a little bit more and get back in there. See, caught. See, it's that little cone of light is almost exactly 4 units in diameter. So it's perfect for setting up something like this. So now we know if we're this close, we get recognized. He sees us, and he's going to, recognize us as an intruder and send us packing, so to speak. All right, so now what we're going to do is we need to actually set it up so something happens if we get too close or we get caught. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to need to do 2 things. We're actually going to need some more toys here. We're going to need a toy box door. And again, you would hide all these creativ-a-toys when you were done. And we're going to need a, oops, wrong way. And you're going to need a locator. And we'll find one here down the pike. Hello, locator. There we go. And we're going to make our quick connection. Maybe. Properties. And why are we not getting a connection for the door? Since when? Oh, my bad. We're going to actually go highlight the locator, and we're going to do properties, and we're going to give the locator a door destination tag. 1. What this means is when a player activates a toy box door, and they're going to that specific level of that toy box door, they will appear on that locator. And so we gave it a door tag of number 1. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the properties of the door, and we're going to say door destination locator tag 1. And we're going to leave the destination the same toy box 1. So we're just going to get teleported to wherever this locator is. So what we're going to do here is we're going to grab this, and we are going to bring it over behind our other prison. So we're going to be putting prison right along with Princess Leia. So we'll put it right about here seems good. And that is pretty much that. And that'll be it. So now here's another thing we can do. What we can do is we can make a connection from our little button here. We'll say new logic connection. We'll say pressed. And we'll deactivate our little distance tracker here. And then what we'll do is we'll turn it back on once we accept the quest. So we'll go back over here. We'll do another new logic connection. Specific line dismissed. Text line 3. And we'll go over to our our distance tracker, and we'll say on. So this way we won't turn on until we accept the quest. Let's make this a little bit cleaner. So let's go over here and let's hit our button and turn that off. And it won't activate until we actually start the quest. And there it goes, it's off. Perfect. Oh my goodness. Did that turn? Yeah, it turned it off. Okay, I thought it turned it back on, the computer terminal. That's not good. Alright, so now we need to actually set up. We have to set up to teleport the player when they get caught by him to prison. So what we'll do is we'll do this. We'll go... Oh, we need one more thing, because we want to make this fun. We're going to use an action enforcer as well. I'm using quite a bit of creativ-a-toys here, but it all works out in the end. Alright, so what happens is when the player gets caught, we'll say new logic connection, specific line dismissed, text line 3. We'll have our player pout, or lament. They'll be upset that they actually got caught. And we'll sit there and say, we'll just do all for now. And we will also fire off, oh, no we won't. We will actually, once this is completed, new logic connection, action attempted, in this case completed, we will fire off. You are really not going to fire off the door? Really? They've changed these toy box doors, and I think they did it because there was problems. Certainly certain toys can fire off the door now. It's a little weird. Action attempted. That's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to need one more toy in here. So what we're going to do is we are going to add in a time delayer. Not a timer, time delayer. No, where's our time delayer? There it is. And what we'll do is we'll do a new logic connection, action attempted. Over here, start delay. We'll leave it at 1 second. We'll tell this new logic connection, delay completed. And now we'll say change level. Now we'll stay in the same level. It'll just teleport us to where we have a locator. So now when we get too close, he'll say caught, and we can actually test that out without even worrying about activating anything or breaking the game. So let's go ahead and let's get too close to him. Oh, I forgot to activate that. Oh, son of a gun. The quest is actually what activates the actual distance tracker. Duh. Let's, for testing purposes, let's throw a button down real fast. Buttons are very useful for testing. New logic connection press, and we'll come over here and we will tell the distance tracker to turn on. Ta-da! Now, when we get too close, we're going to get caught, and we should get teleported into the prison. It's like he called for the guards, and we got caught, and we got thrown in prison.
I underestimated the opposition. Never again.
Oops. And we need to get rid of the confirmation text. And as you can see, we are now stuck in prison, but we're Boba Fett and no prison. Now, you could set up gameplay there to help you find a way to get out of prison. Now, if you'll notice that these don't line up properly with the wall, so if you're going to use these, you're going to need to find a better way to connect them to the wall, because you can walk right out, and so Leia could actually escape prison if she wanted to, but I guess her buns are getting in the way of her sight, and she can't see that. But that's okay. So let's make another change here real fast. Let's turn off distance tracker. And let's get rid of the toy box confirmation. Not enough coffee in the world. Alright. So we're going to go into properties, and we're actually going to turn off the confirmation. Because that's not fair. If we're getting caught, we don't get to choose whether or not we get caught. That's not fair. Alright, and now we just need to actually find a way to make it so we follow the character, we follow the NPC to the terminal without being seen and get the codes. Just simply following him isn't enough. We need to find a way to actually make it so that the codes actually fire off, so we know what the code is in order to turn on the ability terminal and free Princess Leia. So let's go over here. Whee! Bring out our magic wand, because we need to see where the actual where he stops. You know what I mean? Where his path ends, and then where he turns around and goes back. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a couple more toys. We're going to need, actually it's the same toys we've been using. We're going to, once again, we're going to use a dynamic trigger. We're going to use a dynamic trigger, and we're going to use a locator. Alright, so now we're going to actually connect our dynamic trigger to our locator. New locator connection. So instead of attaching it to an actor, we're going to attach it to this location. We're going to go under here. We're going to go under properties. The target is going to be the locator. And the target distance we'll put at... is that too close? We'll put it at 10. That might be a little bit too close. Let me back out of here for a second. Let's see. If you're there, if we put there, yeah, 10's actually good. We're going to leave it at 10. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to put the locator right about here. We'll put it down on the ground. We want them to actually be able to see it. Or not see it, but we want them to actually be able to trigger it off. We put it too high because it's 10 units, you know, all the way around the locator. So we'll place the locator there. Locators can collide into... They have no collision, so they can actually be placed anywhere you want. With inside objects, it does not matter. And we'll exit out of there. So now we need another... Actually, we don't need another text creator. We'll use... no, we'll use another text creator to keep things a little bit more... not streamlined, but a little bit more separate so we can see what's going on. So let's grab another text creator. And let's see, what else do we need? We have our dynamic trigger and we have our text, and that's all we need. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to highlight our text creator. We're going to go down underneath the properties, and we're going to make it 3 seconds. We're going to do text style. We're going to do, we'll actually do confirmation on this one. And we'll say confirmation, and we'll go down here and just type in a really quick little thing. Let's see, today's, let's see, today's code. Three, two, one. Nobody ever said security inside the Death Star was anything good. I mean, it's got blown up twice. Something tells me their security is not too good. So today's code is 321. We'll say done. That noise you hear in the background is my knuckle-headed dog scratching himself and making his collar move around. Alright, so we got that done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say new logic connection. You know what? We're missing a toy here because this isn't going to work. We're missing a toy. We're going to use a... Ooh, I know what we're going to use. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. We're going to actually use not a dual action trigger. We're going to use the new logic and toy. Ooh, we get to play with something new. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to sit there and say new logic connection. Enter. Player. And we'll just say any for this case, and we'll sit there and say input. Alright, so now we're going to do another logic connection, new logic connection, entered, and this time we're going to say AI, and we're going to sit there and we can say friend and or enemy or mouse. Now, this guy should be considered a friend, but I'm not 100% certain, so let's just go with any for now. Now, townsperson I know would be a friend, but since this isn't technically a townsperson, it's... And where is he, speaking of? There he is. We're just going to sit there and say any. Just in case. I mean, we don't have anything else to worry about interfering with this, so we'll be good. And so we're going to come over here and we're going to say input. So now, what we did was, we attached a dynamic trigger to that locator. So now, when the NPC gets close enough to the locator, it's going to send an input to the logic and toy. When we get close enough to the locator, it's also going to send a new signal from the locator, or from the dynamic trigger that's attached to the locator, to the logic and toy, and then that in turn, once both of those, what's the term I'm looking for? When both of those conditions are met, it's then going to fire off the text, and that's going to in turn fire off and turn on the ability terminal and allow us to complete the quest. So check this out. We're going to go over here, we're going to go highlight it, we're going to say, go under properties, and it just says auto reset. There's nothing that you need to worry about there. We're going to do a new logic connection, completed, and we're going to come over here and we're going to say display text 1. Now, we need to change one minor thing before, in order for all this to work properly. Right now, if we leave it as it is, it will technically work, but here's the deal. As soon as he gets close enough to the actual locator, to the trigger, that input is going to be sent to that logic antoy, and it's going to remain there permanently until we come along and get close enough to it, and then it will then send us another signal to the other signal to the logic antoy and then fire off. We don't want that to happen because that's kind of lame. Like, we can actually let him walk back and we could just still stand up there and get the codes. That doesn't make any sense. We want it to appear like we followed this character to the console. He went up there and he got the codes for the day. We don't want him to not be there and some random idiot is spouting out the codes through the intercom. I mean, it is a Death Star, so they're probably doing that. Stormtroopers weren't known to be the smartest, bunch. But, let's pretend that they're a little bit more intelligent than a doorknob. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another new logic connection. And we're going to say new logic connection exited. And we'll say AI any. And we'll tell it to reset. So what will happen is when he gets too far away, it's going to reset all the inputs that were put into there. So now the only way we're going to get this to fire off is if we are both within 10 units of that, that locator, that dynamic trigger that we attach to the locator. I'll spit it out, don't worry. There's a method to my madness. Alright, so now let's go over what we have. We have our NPC following a path that we have to trail him to the console to get the codes. We got a little light beacon around him to kind of give us the player an idea, a hint of how close they can get. And we also have a distance tracker set up. We also have text that fires off saying if we got too close or not, and if we got caught. And if we get caught, we get sent all the way back to prison. So hopefully everything here works very well. And we need to make one other logic connection. What we're going to do here is we're going to do new logic connection from the text creator, specific line dismissed, text line 1. And we're going to, I'm laughing because I'm hoping the breathing of my dog, he's 120 pounds now. He's a big boy. He's a 120-pound German Shepherd. And, his idea of breathing is, it sounds like Godzilla is behind my shoulder breathing. And he's just staring blankly at my daughter for whatever reason. So, okay, back to work. We're going to go ahead and activate the console once we get the code. And we're going to do another logic connection. We're going to activate another console, another ability console, because I have another thing I want to show you guys. So we'll say new logic connection and specific line dismissed, text line 1. We'll come on over here and we will highlight our other ability terminal here and we'll say activate. Seriously, dog, stop breathing. This is not going to sound like a tutorial. Anyway, so now we have everything set up. We have the quest. We have the NPC that's walking back and forth that we got to stealth behind. We have the codes fire off. The codes in turn fire off the ability terminal. Now the only thing that we need to wrap up here is we need to take it so she gives us another line of text saying thank you or something of that nature. So let's see, what can we have her do? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, yes, we're going to do this one. We're going to say new logic connection, terminal hacked, and we're going to sit there. We're going to first tell it to bring down the force field, so we're going to sit there and say open. But we're also going to sit there and do this. We're going to say new logic connection, terminal hacked, and we're going to come over to Princess Leia, if I can target her, there she is, and we're going to sit there and say play once, and we'll say cheer. And she's going to be very happy that we freed her. And we'll do one more logic connection from the terminal, new logic connection, terminal hacked, and we will come over here, and we will deactivate, where are we at? What are we looking for here? We will deactivate the question mark. And that should be it. And let's see. Hopefully we are good. That should fire off. everything should go pretty well. So let's give this demonstration a go, shall we? Alright, let's put our wand away. So the player comes up, in this case Boba Fett, and sees Princess Leia captured behind the force field. We'll come up here, we'll get a little button prompt, talk. Help, I've been kidnapped. You need to get the codes for the door. Be careful you don't get caught. Now I should have probably had the camera target turn on after line 1 of text, not line 2, but still it works. As you can see now, we're giving the player a visual clue, telling them, hey, this is where you need to get the codes at. You could go a little bit further with this and like really be descriptive and handhold for the player, but this is just an idea. And now we have our distance tracker turned on. You'll see that she has her question mark above her head. We have a question mark on the mini map there, and now we can go over here and we have this little red dot showing us, not red dot, I'm sorry, yellow dot showing us where to go. So we'll come around the corner here, and we'll see the guy walking back and forth. So now we'll come up here and we'll try to get near him but not too close. And again, you could add things that you have to duck behind. You can add multiple enemies walking through here so you don't have to worry about getting too close. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to demonstrate how this works. So we're going to let him get all the way up to where he belongs. And then we're going to duck behind this thing, because I'm going to show you something now. He went up to the trigger area. He triggered that. But now that he's leaving the trigger area, oh my goodness, don't go away. Go away. But now I want to show you that we're going to get up here and the codes aren't going to fire off because we set this not to fire off unless both us and the NPC are near the console. See? Nothing. Yay! But now what we're going to do is we're going to hide behind the console. We need to make sure we're within 10 blocks of it, so we'll say, oh goodness, I don't want to get caught. We'll try here and see if that's close enough. Come on. We made this little path a little bit long. But hey, part of stealth gameplay is having patience. So now, hopefully this will work correctly, because we are actually close enough to the beacon. At least we should be 10. Oh, today's code is 321. And continue. And there we go. We didn't have a chance to continue. The other text fired off. So you got to be a little careful with that. The reason why that text line disappeared on us before we had a chance to confirm it is because the other text overrode it, because we had that set up to be too close. Honestly, we should just get rid of that too close and just have caught. Now this should have turned on our terminal. And I believe it did. And now we should be able to hack. Yes, it did. Now we should be able to hack and bring down the force field for Princess Leia. So we'll come over here and we'll hack the terminal. And try not to fail. Yay! And she does a little cheer. And the thing disappears over her and she's out and she's free. And ta-da! There goes our quest. Now, we could have obviously had this quest tied to a challenge maker to give us like a little bit more feeling like we did something important. And we don't want to talk to you no more, Princess Leia, go away. And we also should have had this to where when this hacked, it turned off our distance tracker. Because once we got the code, we no longer needed to worry about being part of the distance tracker. But I'm going to show you once again that it still is working to where we could, even if the quest was still running, if we got caught, we get thrown in jail. Now watch, when we get caught, there's no confirmation, we get thrown in jail, and here we are. Pretty spiffy, isn't it? So that's one way, that's one type of stealth gameplay. So let's go ahead and we'll drop down here, and we'll turn this off. We don't know. Thought that was to turn off. Oh, that's not. Oops. Let's turn it on. Wrong button. I confused myself with the amount of buttons. We actually want to turn this off. Let's turn off this. There we go. We actually should have made the logic connection that once we hack the terminal. And here, I'll just show you how we would have done it. Go on here. New logic connection. Terminal hacked. And we should have had it set to turn off. Oh my goodness. I should not have done that. Ugh. Fail. New logic connection. Terminal hacked. We're going to come over here and we're going to target our distance tracker and we're going to tell it to deactivate. Or turn off in this case. And that's what we should have done. That way, once we were done with the quest, you know, besides Princess Leia being freed, and speaking of which, where is she? Besides Princess Leia being free, we turned off the distance tracker, everything went back to normal, now we don't have to worry about accidentally bumping into that guy, getting caught, or what have you. Alright, so that's one way to do it. Now we're going to do it with enemies. Now we're going to show how the difference with actually using enemies as part of our stealth mission. So once again, we're going to actually need, well actually before we do anything, let's do this. Let's make ourselves part of the green team. Now here's where things, did I turn it off? I did, didn't I? There we go. Here's the problem with using enemies in stealth. Enemies by default want to obliterate you. They want to shoot your face off no matter what. So, in order to overcome that, you need to be on the same team. Especially for stealth missions, and it's going to make more sense here in a second, because if we leave it to where they're no team, once they get a sense of us, once we activate them, they are just going to come after us no matter what. There's going to be no way to get away from them, because their logic is so aggressive that there's no other way around it. However, if we use team, at least this is the way I found, the best way I found to make it work, is if we use team assignments, then we can actually go ahead and make everything work. And you'll see what I mean. Alright, and actually we're going to need another team assigner out here. We're going to actually need red. I call it red, it's orange, but I call it red. Why they use the color orange, we don't know, but I say red. Alright, so we're going to need that out as well. And now we are going to need a path creator to put our enemy on a path. Did I path it? I most certainly did. Back it up, Jack. So we're going to plop down a path creator. We're going to make the path about yay big. And now we're going to get an enemy out, and we're going to attach him to the path. Simple enough. So let's go underneath of our enemies, and let's see who we can find. Who's going to be our victim? Let's use I love the battle droid. Let's go ahead and use a battle droid. Now, we'll plop him down. As you can see, by default, since we actually have team assignment activated, he automatically went to green team. So what we're going to do is we're going to take him, and we're going to say new path connection as he walks right past us. And we're going to assign him to this path. And you'll see he'll go running to that path. And now he's going to run back and forth, and we're going to give him a workout. Now, again, by default, the path makes it loop. So you see he appears, he disappears. We don't want that to happen. We want him going back and forth. So let's go ahead and let's target him first. Gotcha. And we'll go into properties, toy box path, and we will tell him to go at, just like our NPC back there, we'll tell him to go at 50. We'll say done, and as you can see, he goes back to a nice little strut. Now, here's something else you need to pay attention to. Ignore outside influences. In this case, we want it to be on, and we also want return the path after tacking. Apparently, he's tacking some stuff up on the wall. It's poster day here in the Death Star. He will go back to the path after attacking. Yeah, I know what I'm doing, folks. Really, I do. Alright, so now he should... Oh, I thought we set him to go back and forth. Oh, no, we just changed his speed. Come here. Properties. Now we're going to go under Toy Box Path once again, and we're going to go all the way down here and go to Movement Style and say, one way. No. No, 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 no. Hurry, 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 hurry. Back and forth. If you go one way and stop, the enemy, NPC, what have you, will just stop there, stand there, look stupid for a second, and then walk away from the path. That's not what we want. So now he's on a patrol. We've now made an enemy patrol. Ain't that grand? So now what we need to do is similar to what we did for the NPC, we need to set this up so that if we get too close to this enemy, he will sense that we're there, he'll recognize us as an intruder, and start shooting our face. So what we need here is we need, once again, wrong direction, we need our dynamic trigger. Yeah, there we go. Dynamic trigger, and we also, and for now we're going to start with just, oh my goodness, he walked away. You, see what I mean by NPCs and enemies behaving badly? Now you get to see why. As soon as you bring up the editor, he decides to go wander off. You knucklehead, you. That's okay, we'll fix his boat. And let's do this. We're actually going to do this. We're going to do new logic connection. Press. There's a reason why I had this button here. Knew there was. And we'll tell it to reset and play. This will put him back on his path. You knucklehead, you. Hey. I'm going to put you in a scrap heap. You don't obey my commands. There we go. Now he's back on the path. Alrighty. Now, so we need to do the same thing we did before, and we need to actually assign him to the dynamic trigger to him, I should say. We need to basically put a trigger area around our little buddy here. So we'll say actor. And once again, we need to highlight this, go underneath the properties once again, and we'll say target, connected actor. And the target distance we will do, what should we do here? 10 seems a little too far. We'll knock that down to, say, 8 sounds good. And we'll do 8. So now you ask, okay, so now you set a trigger on him. What do we do? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go new logic connection from our dynamic trigger, and we'll say enter, player, any, and we'll highlight our orange team, and we'll say set player 1 to orange team. Now you can do clear players, you can do, you got a lot of options here. You can set all players, but we're just going to do player 1 to orange team. And hopefully it didn't set me to orange team automatically, which sometimes it will do. Okay, so now if we get too close to our enemy there, our little buddy, he is going to he's going to get angry at us and he's going to shoot us. Good times, right? So we're going to do that first, and then I'm going to show you how we can set it up so you can escape the enemy without killing the enemy or getting killed by the enemy, and he will go back to his patrol. So first let's just test this out and show you how this will work. So we'll come up here. As you can see, he's still fine. He's friendly, he's friendly, he's friendly, he's friendly, and now he won't be. Oh, yes he will be. You know why? Because I'm an idiot. That's why. Let's go ahead and turn the... let's go ahead and turn ourselves back to green team. Congratulations. You fail at making a tutorial. There should be an achievement for that. Alright, come here. We're actually going to go back under his properties, and I made a mistake. And you actually need to ignore outside influences. Turn that off. Now, if we get too close to him, I will turn orange, he will become aggressive towards me, and he will attack. Ow. See? And now he will sit there and shoot at me, and he will follow me as far as he possibly can. You really have to go pretty far to outrun him. So now and then you can have this set off to where he sets off an alarm and stuff now, but what we're going to do is we're going to...
You cannot escape me.
Go ahead and blow him away. And we're going to show you how to set it so you can, instead of fighting him, you can run away and not have to worry about, fighting him. You can run away, and once you get a certain distance away from him, he will reset and go back to his path. And just like in most stealth games, if you get far enough away from the enemy, they go, oh, I don't feel like, I'm lazy, I don't feel like chasing him the rest of the way. And they go back to their business. You know what I mean? They go back to walking their path, picking the nose, doing what it is that they do. So if you want to create that type of gameplay, we can do that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring out our little buddy again, because we need something to target. Where is our enemies? Oh, there he is. Hi, battle droid. Back out you go. Oh, and he's now orange team. You dirty bird, you. Come here. No, we'll leave him in orange. Okay, we're gonna do orange team, and we're gonna switch us to green team when we get too close. Would you come here? Alright, so we're gonna do new path connection. And we're gonna say toy box path, and we'll put him back on his path. And once he starts moving, we'll grab him. We'll slow his speed down. Look at him run. We'll slow his speed down, poor guy. And we'll change it from loop to back and forth. So we'll put him back on patrol. Ta-da! Now we're also he's going to go off the path, I know it, now that I'm in the editor. We're going to go down here to our creativ-a-toys. And once again, we need, well actually we already have a dynamic trigger out. We don't need a dynamic trigger, we're going to need our distance tracker again. And that should actually be all we need for this example. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach our dynamic trigger to him once again. New actor connection to our little guy here. We're going to say actor. Go into our properties once again. And we're going to sit there and say, actually we need to delete that link real quick because we switched teams. We're going to say go under properties. Target is connected actor, which we've already done. We're going to do distance 8, which is already set up, which is perfect. And now we also need to make a actor connection to our distance checker. So highlight our distance checker, grab our little guy here, call him target A. Highlight our little distance checker here, and we'll say, let's see, what do we want here? We want properties. Target A is connected actor. Target B will be the player. In this case, we'll do any player for this. This will be fine. Now we have distance 10, 10, and 10. So distance 1 is if we get too close, and it will turn him, or I should say, turn us to a different team color and make him aggressive. So distance 1, we are going to, well, you know what? We'll leave it at 10. 10 sounds good. No, we're going to make that back down to 8 just because keep it consistent. Alright, so at distance 8, if we get within 8 units of him, he's going to become hostile and he's going to start shooting at us. Distance 2, we're going to make that 20, and once we get to that far away from him, that in turn will turn us back to the proper team and deactivate him and make him unaggressive again, if that makes any sense. So we're going to do active, we're going to leave it on, and we're going to use the display on. Just, you can, again, this will be a personal preference. I'm going to put it on so you can see the actual distance tracker in action. Alright, so we're going to back out of there. And now we need to make our logic connections from the distance tracker. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight it. We're going to say new logic connection. Target comes in within distance 1. We're going to highlight our green team, and we're going to say set player 1 to green team. So now that will make him hostile to us and start chasing us and trying to shoot us. Poor Boba Fett. And now we need this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to say new logic connection. Target moves out of distance 2, which will be 20 units. So we run away from him far enough. And now we're going to reassign ourselves back to team 1. Set player 1 to orange team. And now hopefully this will work. And worst case scenario, we might have to put him back on his path, but this should work. So if you remember, if we get within 10 units of him, or 8 units, he becomes hostile. If we get out of 20 units away from him, we run away like a little coward, like a little chicken, and we run away, he'll get bored, he'll sit there and go back to being a typical dumb battle droid and walking back and forth. So let's go ahead and let's get up close to him. And as you can see, oh, great googly moogly, I did it again. As you can see, I failed at this tutorial. Let's switch us back to orange again. Oh, goodness. Back to orange. Get orange. Thank you. Alright, we forgot to turn off outside influences off. Now it'll work. I promise. Alright, so now, if we get too close to him, he's going to become hostile. He's going to try to shoot us, and then we're going to run away. So as you see, he's shooting at us. Oh, run away! Now we got past 20, and we turn back to orange, and it takes him a second, but there he goes. He's now forgotten all about us, and he's back to being our friend. And if you notice, ta-da, he returns back to the path, because we have it set to go back onto the toy. So let's do it again. Let's go over here. Ah, don't shoot me! Yep, see, he notices who we are now, and we have it set at 20 just so I didn't have to run all the way across the toy box. But now we go back to being orange. You know, we go back to being the same team, and he goes back to his path. And there you go. You now have it set up to where you gotta, if you need to get past him. So let's say if we had him next to this door here, and patrolling in front of this door here, we could set it up to where, we could actually, why don't we go ahead and move the door instead of moving him? That would be easy enough. Should have put this over there in the first place, but that's okay. So we'll put this, like, say, right here. So let's say this battle droid was patrolling in front of this doorway, in front of this hallway, and we need to get there. So we would have to try to stealthily get past here. So now remember, we have it set at 8 units, so we would need to, you know, as a player, you would need to watch his path, and you need to see how far he walks back and forth, and you need to guess, unless you keep the distance tracker up, you need to guess as the player how close you can be and sneak by him. So here we know we're good, we can sneak by him. Now we got into the hallway, and he never even knew we were there. Ain't like, is he chasing us? Ain't like, he is chasing us. Oh, that's because I got close enough to him, didn't I? Or no, I didn't, did I? You know what? Actually, I know what's going on. Let's turn him back. Get back to where you belong, dude. Oh, he's chasing Princess Leia. Run, Princess Leia! Oh, that is awesome. Run, Princess Leia. I need to check something. I think I know what happened. I think we got too close to him. Let me just check something really quick. Distance to target A, connected active. Yeah. Oops. Did he kill her yet? Okay, let's go rescue Princess Leia. Oh my goodness. He is a bad shot. Look, she just jumped over his lasers. Dude. Dude, that's pretty bad. And now, well, this is a really good example. As you can see, you don't have to be right next. You don't have to have them on a path. You can just have them wandering in the toy box and make the player keep the player on their toes, and they gotta make sure they're not getting too close. That was really sad. No wonder the battle droids lost. I mean, seriously. I mean, if they were that bad of shots, no wonder. I mean, they're worse than stormtroopers. All right, so now we set that up, but now I want to show you one more thing that we can do with enemies. Well, not only one thing, but this is another example of what we can do with enemies. All right, let's get going here. All right, so once again, we need to bring out some more enemies. That was funny. It's always the things that you don't expect to happen. All right, let's see. We need our battle droid once again. Where are you, buddy? There's our battle droid. And we need to attach him to our path again. Come here, you. Oh my god, he's going to go after Princess Leia again. Let's delete her before she gets into trouble again. Wow, he's oversensitive. He really does not like oh my goodness. Okay, fine. I'm about to kill her myself. Before he goes nuts. There. Now, go back to your path, dude. Oh. Go back to your path, buddy. Why am I getting help? I've been kidnapped? She was deleted. Why? I don't know. I don't ask. I just won't ask. I'll be right back. Let me go turn this thing back off. Oh, the joys of creating a toy box. Come here. Oh no. I think that deactivated this terminal over here now too, because I had that set to deactivate all terminals. Oh. Great googly moogly. Nope, that's activated. Good. Okay. Let's pretend none of that happened, and you now have the codes for all the terminals. That's a few minutes later here. Alright, do we have him back on the path? No, we don't. He ran. Where did he go? There he is. Hi. You ready to cooperate now? Princess Leia's gone. You don't need to worry about... Oh my god, he's going to go off the path. You're really bothering me, buddy. Alright, properties. Toy box path. You're seriously bothering me, dude. And we'll do movement style back and forth. Would you behave yourself? Get on that path. Now, let's see if he continues to cooperate. Yay. Why do we still have a distance tracker on? We don't know. That should be activated when I hit that one. It should have turned off the distance tracker. You know what? Here. Take care of you real quick. Where you at? I don't need you no more. Oh my goodness, it's still there. There. Fine. Go away. There. We got rid of our distance tracker. We'll start all over again from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to need to replace that distance tracker for one. It's not good. You left the path. Oh my. Who programmed you? Seriously, who programmed you? Get on the path, fool. Thank you. Alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can set it up to where instead of running away from the enemy, you have to defeat the enemy in a certain amount of time or an alarm will sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab out, just for sake of ease, we're going to use a text creator, and we're going to use, go under gameplay toys, and we're going to use a, oh, wrong direction. We're going to use a sound effects generator, and we're going to do alarm. Alrighty, what do we need to do here? So we need to once again attach this to our poor guy. So we're going to do new logic connection, or new actor connection, pardon my ignorance, and we're going to say target A. And we're going to come under the properties. We're going to say properties. Target A is connected actor. And target B will actually be us, the player. And we'll say any player is fine. Distance 1 will be 10. We'll do distance 1 will be 8. I'm thinking to myself here, instead of using a distance tracker, we could just use a dynamic trigger instead. Oh, the decisions of this. You know what? We're going to actually use the trigger. So we want the distance once again at 8. Set that to done. Distance 2. We'll just leave it at 10 because we're not going to use any of the other distance, and we'll put that to on. Just so you can see a visual demonstration of what's going on here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say new logic connection. Target comes in within distance 1. And we're going to tell it to switch us to the orange team. Now we're also going to make another logic connection. We're going to sit there and say new logic connection, and actually we need, let's see, target comes in with distance 1. We'll target the text creator, and we'll say alarm, display text 1. We'll go under properties. We'll just do text style. We'll do banner. And we'll tell it to say alarm. And he moves. You dirty bird. Get back. And we'll also do, from the distance checker, we'll also do the same thing. New logic connection. Target comes in with the distance 1. And we'll tell it to play an alarm sound. I think it's under action. I think it's under action. Nope. Might be under general. Ah, there we go. Alarm. Perfect. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually add in a timer to give the players so long to defeat the enemy before they are teleported into prison, before they get defeated themselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let's see, we need to go back under creativ-a-toys, and we need, instead of a time delayer, which I tend to use a lot, we're going to use a timer for this one. We're going to go into its properties. And we're going to go and change it. Target time, we don't want 300 seconds. No, thank you. We actually want, let's see, how low can we go? I think we can go as low as 3 seconds. I'm not sure. Let's see if that's too low. Might be too low. Yep, that's too low. We'll do 10 seconds. I know you can go at least as low as 10 seconds, so we'll do 10. Visible display on, we'll leave it on, and countdown from target time is on. That's exactly what we want. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to do another logic connection from our distance tracker. We're going to say, now you know what? Yeah, we'll do it from there. We'll do new logic connection. Target comes in with the distance 1. We're going to tell it to go ahead and fire off the We'll start the timer. Now when the timer finishes, new logic connection, timer expired. We'll go over here and we actually need a toy box door. We'll tell it to change level. No, not to start the delay. Oh yes, start the delay, I'm sorry. Ooh, yeah, we do need that because once again we cannot make things directly to the level. At least I don't think we can. New logic connection, timer expired. Let's see if we can target the door. If not, we're gonna have to use the timer. Oh, this thing does not like doors. We'll do the time delay or start delay, and that'll will put us into prison. And you really need to go away because you're too close to me, buddy. Let's put you back on the path. I say. Alright, so now what happens is if we get too close to him, he will become aggressive. The timer will start. We have 10 seconds to defeat him. If we don't defeat him within 10 seconds, we're going to be thrown in jail. Now, the other way we can do this is we can find him. New logic connection. Oh, we can't do that. Hot dog. We cannot actually do that. We're going to need to put him on using... Oh, that stinks. We're going to need to put him back on using a enemy spawner because we can't use logic about being defeated. So we're going to need to get rid of him. Sorry about that. Alright. Quick fix. We need an enemy spawner. Or I should say enemy generator. I call it spawner. Enemy generator. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll do this. And we actually need a locator. Knew I was missing something. So we need a new locator connection. Generation location. Let's actually move our locator, turn it, and we want this as close as possible to our actual path point. Now we'll go under here. We'll go underneath of properties, and we'll say generated enemy options. Ignore outside influences off. Return the path after attacking, and movement style back and forth. And we need to put it on a path. So we'll say new path connection. Toy box path. Now we will take this and we'll need another button here. Just so we can spawn our little enemy here, our little guy. Logic connection pressed. I'm making a mess of this and I apologize. And we'll say Twilight of the Rise Against the Empire. Is that where they're at? Stormtrooper, Imperial Stalker Droid. No, they're not on there. Twilight of the Republic. There we go. B1 Battle Droid. And you'll see why we did this in a second.
Roger, roger.
And you'll see he'll go running off to the toy box path. Now we can target him and change his speed. Wow, he really moves when you leave it at 100, doesn't he? There he goes. He's back to a nice trot. So now we can actually do what we had originally planned. So let's go ahead and we'll put a new actor connection once again because we had to reset it. We'll say target A. And there we go. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we have everything set up to be an alarm. And we have this timer to expire if we don't defeat him within 10 seconds, it's going to put us in jail. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a logic connection from the enemy spawner. Let's say new logic connection. Enemy defeated. Come over here to our timer. And we're going to sit there and say, we'll say pause now, we'll say reset. And that should work for us. Alright, so now if we get too close to the enemy, he's going to attack us. If we don't defeat him, we get thrown in jail. So we'll just demonstrate that first. But if not, we're going to reset the timer if we defeat him in time. So let's get close to him. And he calls alarm, and there's your timer. 3, 2, 1, and 0. And we got put in jail. Ain't life great. And we crashed into the wall. Now, go home, Boba Fett, you're drunk. Let's go back over here. And now let's see what happens. Let's turn ourselves back to the green team first. And then we will go ahead. He's coming after us. Get away. There we go. Now, go back to being, we're your friend. We come in peace. Go back to what you were doing. Now we should be able to kill him. And there you go. The timer went away. We got him in time. And we, even though he set off the alarm, we killed him in time, and there's nothing to see here. Move along. And there you have it. There's another way to set up enemies for stealth. Now, here's one other thing you could do. And this is just a little fun add-on. And yes, I know this tutorial is already incredibly long, but just humor me. You remember how we snuck past that guy over there in the hallway? We got our codes for the day. Today's codes are 3, 2, 1. We can go over here. And this is just an idea of other ways you can do your stealth gameplay. As you probably can imagine in other games, you've seen... hang on a minute. I need to check what team I have this assigned to because I've been changing teams so much here. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Green team. No, we want this on orange team. We want this to be our buddies, our pals. Alright. You'll know in other stealth games, or in other games in general, there's times where you could reprogram robots, or you could reprogram the sentries to, fight for you, to be on your side. So check out what we're going to do here. We now have the codes to hack this terminal, 3, 2, 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to hack this terminal, and it's going to spawn some battle droids to fight the stormtroopers down there for us. And I had some, not X-Wings, TIE fighters lined up nice and pretty, but apparently these guys decided to move them around. Hey, whatever. So what we have here is we have an ability terminal. And we have it set to when it's hacked, the terminal is hacked, it will generate the wave. Now the wave of enemies is, we have it set up to spawn us 4 battle droids, and they're going to be on our team, which is orange team. So, and they're automatically going to spawn down there on our little locator in front of that door there. And they're going to help, let's say one of our, look at what he's doing to that, look at what he's doing to the TIE fighter. Dude, really? So what's going to happen is as soon as we, oh my goodness, how did he jump that far? There's no way. Get down. You've got to be kidding me. Down there. Are you serious? I did not realize they can jump that high. Wow. You know what? I'm going to go collect my sparks, don't I? Wow, that was pretty nasty. Alright, so, okay. Use your imagination here, folks. Let's pretend that didn't just happen. And we have some stormtroopers down in our, our bay down here. And part of our quest, our mission is to sneak over here into the, the little bay here, the, whatever. Docking Bay 12, and we have to sneak in here and take over one of the TIE fighters and escape the starbase. Well, we have patrols down there. Well, okay, we have the codes for today, so why don't we go ahead, hack the terminal, and bring out our little buddies. We'll hack the battle droids. If we don't fail. Ta-da! And now we have some battle droids, and they are our buddies. They're our friends, our pals. And they got nothing to shoot now because our stupid stormtroopers, suddenly became Superman and, can leap a building in one bound and came after us. I have no idea what oh my god, they just do not like these TIE fighters. And let's get out a stormtrooper. Let's get out a couple clone troopers. And let's change their team. Dirty bird, you. There. We'll change his team back to blue. Let's see who wins. Change his team too. Are they really going to lose? Well, we know who would win between Stormtroopers and Battle Droids. Oh my goodness, he's wiping them out. Well, we know who would win between Battle Droids and Stormtroopers.
Let's go.
Yeah, you know what? You killed my little buddies. You killed my pal. Got something for you. Take a rocket to the face. And it hit everything but him. That's right. Boba Fett, really? Come here. And there you have it. That's just one other example of chaos, but it's also an example of how you could add another little mechanic to your stealth gameplay. And we are now at 1 hour and 50 minutes, and I apologize for the length of this tutorial. And dog, if you don't lay down, I am going to take you and shave you bald. Go lay down. You can hear his nails clicking across the floor. Go lay down, you fool. Well, I apologize for the utter chaos that was this tutorial, but hopefully it helped you. Hopefully you were able to see what we can do with stealth mechanics. And now, a couple quick notes about this stuff. One is you can choose whether or not how much of a hint you want to give the player. You don't need to have, for example, those distance trackers running. If you want to keep the player on their toes, you can take that off, especially for enemies. You know what I mean? Or don't even have the enemies on a path and just have them randomly patrolling the area. You know, you can have some on paths that are in front of doors, you know, to make it actually challenging, but you can also add to the challenge by just having random enemies wandering aimlessly throughout your toy box, and you got to be on your toes, pay attention to where they're at, and not get too close to them, because if you do, they're going to, you know, attack you and either set off an alarm, put you in prison, or they're going to just, you know, shoot at you until you obliterate them. But hopefully that helped you understand how to set up a quick mission. Hopefully that also helped with the stealth tutorial. And stay tuned, because now that I have everything back under control as far as the game not crashing on me and my save files not getting corrupted, you can expect to see 1 to 2 tutorials a week at minimum. I plan on doing one tutorial that I pick to choose, that I decide what would make a good tutorial, and also hopefully do one that is based off of a suggestion that you guys and gals give me. So if you have something that you want to see done, and a tutorial done of, or some kind of gameplay mechanic you want to see accomplished within the game, go ahead and put it in the comment section below and let me know which one you want to see, and I'll pick that out and I'll do that. So every week we'll try to have a regular tutorial and then a user request tutorial video. Alright, until then, take care and bye-bye. Wait, bye, Boba Fett. No, that's shooting. Wait, bye. He's not cooperative. He's an angry individual. Alright, everybody, take care and bye-bye.